All right, y'all, so let's talk about this. Moses Itauma versus Jermaine Franklin. First off, Moses got the job done. And like I told you guys, if Moses is really that guy, he should destroy Jermaine Franklin. He shouldn't struggle with him, and he really shouldn't have a hard time getting him out of there. Now, Jermaine Franklin, he came to fight, and Jermaine Franklin, I told you, you can see that he's a guy that we've seen the best of him already. He's not going to get any better than what we've seen already. And Jermaine Franklin, like in the press conference when he's saying to Moses, he's saying, to basically Moses into the interviewer that, they think that they saw something that, they watch tapes and think they can beat him, but he can do other things. Now you ask yourself, other things like what? Like when he fought against Anthony Joshua, for example. He couldn't figure out anything different to do then, right? When he fought against, Dillian White. He fought Dillian White. Dillian White only knows how to fight one way. Dillian White is not a very smart fighter. First off, he fights one way. So for Dillian White, it was a fight where a lot of people thought Jermaine won. Like, whatever. For the most part, like that, because there's people that thought that Dillian won, and there's people that thought he could have won either way. But a lot of people thought that that Jermaine won, and it's like he lives off of that one fight, so he couldn't do anything different in those fights. He just kept doing the same thing for the same fight throughout those two fights, and those are the two fights that popularized him. They gave him some notoriety, so he couldn't do anything different in those fights. So when you say, well, you mean prior to that? Well, if you even go prior, I've seen him have, like fights where they were pretty lackluster. They were, anytime you land shots in a fight and the fans are oohing and eyeing, but you got to look at who you're fighting and why you're fighting. And one thing in Jermaine, I can see his inconsistency. I see he loses focus. He's flat-footed, he doesn't have good footwork, and basically, he's tough though. Like, he comes to fight, he wants to fight, and Moses basically broke him down. You can see him landing shots, and he do the shake his head, stick his tongue out, all that shit. And pretty much, I'm watching him, and I'm understanding that, he's not able to get out of the way of the shots that Moses was throwing. He was fighting he was like more defensive, and he was counterpunching. But what happens, and this is something that you see often too, when older fighters, and flat-footed, it makes it worse, but when fighters get to the point where you see they don't know what else to do, and they're getting hit, they start backing themselves in the corners. They start backing into the ropes, and when they start trying to use the ropes to spring off the ropes, like any of those little tactics that they use, this is a person trying to use experience that they know, anything other than just a firefight in the middle of that ring, right? And the thing is, what they're doing is not effective. And it's like, it's just a matter of time. Now, a fighter can get caught with a shot, yes. You can see Moses' hand speed was bothering him. He was just simply moving his hands around, moving his lead hand up and down, and and he would basically shoot the jab, work off the jab, throwing power shots. So right from the very beginning, he was trying to set him up to catch him. With that straight left. Him being a southpaw and all. But Moses basically broke him down, and he knew that he could get to him, and he was landing shots, and that I'm gonna catch him clean at some point. So what was the 5th or 6th round, whatever, when he caught him with that uppercut? People saying it was he could have let him get up. He started bringing up Tyson Fury and all of that. But it's like, listen, man, what happened. It is what it is. It's over. The guy lost. What happens next for Moses, we don't know. I mean, I seen videos of Usyk and AJ training together, And I, heard Usyk say that he's confident that, Anthony Joshua is going to be undisputed one day. Okay, that's, maybe not. Who knows, right? Only time will tell. These are guys that's on their way out. The era of Moses Itauma has already started dawning now, because the guys that's from that AJ, Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder era, those fighters are all at the end of their career. So even like the fight, Tyson Fury coming back to fight on Netflix to make some more money, whatever. I mean, listen, these guys. Here's my thing. Let's just say if AJ does become undisputed, let's just say, right? Does he do that by fighting Moses Itauma first? Or does he become that, fight Moses after, or become that and retire? AJ said he wants to retire at 38 years old. What is he, 36, 37 now? So, I don't know. And the way Moses looked in that fight, I can say that for Jermaine Franklin, he looks pretty much like the same fighter. When he fought AJ, AJ, this was the very, very cautious AJ, AJ that basically didn't have that killer instinct that he once had, that patience, that poise. This was an AJ that was, basically trying to become a pure boxer instead of being the boxer puncher that he's meant to be. But Itauma was nothing like that. Itauma was aggressive. Itauma was walking him down. And Jermaine Franklin pretty much is always at a stalemate, or he's the one coming forward. So when you see him on the back foot, he's worried. He's concerned about what's in front of him. I saw that in this fight, and I said, yeah, like I said, if he's that guy, he should take care of him. And he did what he was supposed to do, man. He got him out of there. The heavyweight division right now, it is what it is. The fighters that's out there now, like when people keep talking about the names, I always say it, and I always will until something changes, that the names out there are not great names. They are just people that may have some recognition because, they're from a country that they get support. They've, knocked some guys out or had some fights where, people are speaking about them. I mean, they are of this generation. So, yeah, they're speaking about these guys. But in terms of their level of competition, I feel like Moses Itauma should be able to become champion. Now, he has to fight a guy like a Fabio Wardley. He has to get past, there's fights out there. One thing about the fight game, and, people got to understand this, is that everybody doesn't last the same amount of time. Everybody doesn't have the same durability, and everybody doesn't have that discipline. The main thing I see right now with Moses is just stay focused, stay disciplined, just focus on being a boxer. Don't focus on wanting to be a celebrity. Don't focus on wanting to be in front of the cameras, putting on and clowning and just being, everything other than a fighter. Once a fighter gets to the point where the money's, they're multimillionaires and, they don't have to want for anything, it's easy for them to lose that hunger then. And Moses did what he was supposed to do. For me, everything is a fight-by-fight basis. I can't watch you fight, look good in the fight, and then just think, this is just going to be you from now on. We don't know that until we see the whole ride, So, yeah, my thing is he got the job done. He got the job done, and on a positive note is he beat Jermaine Franklin up, So, yeah, he got it done. I don't know what the plans are with AJ or whoever else. I don't know. And I will also say this. When the powers that be are looking for the next boxing star, well, yeah, that's what they do. Let's find somebody that got some respect on their name now, whether they have a belt or not. But especially if they line them up for a title shot and they win. Because now, let's just say, for example, if AJ did get that title shot, and let's say AJ does become undisputed. Let's just say, right? I don't know if he can beat Moses Itauma. The Anthony Joshua that fights cautiously. I mean, that Anthony Joshua that just fought, Daniel Dubois, he gets knocked out. That AJ gets knocked out. So I don't know what AJ is going to do different, what he's going to find different, what he's going to add to his game by training with Usyk. I don't know if Usyk really believes what he said, or if that's what he just wants for AJ. He obviously likes AJ as a person, but it's going to take more than that. AJ is going to have to be a different AJ. AJ can't go in there fighting Moses Itauma if that ever happens. Like, he's scared or reluctant to let his hands go and just picking the wrong punches to throw, because he will end up on that canvas sleep. I feel like Moses should be a cut above everybody else. I told you, out of all the new guys, he looks like the more promising one. So he got the job done, and I don't know. I'll talk some more about this later. That's all I got for you guys right now. Catch you guys on the next video.